Hi, I'm Steve Watson, the Maricopa County School Superintendent, and thank you for joining me for the culmination of AZ Bioscience Week. Today we will hear from students who took on the Medical Patent Challenge, and our distinguished panel members, Dr. Jeffrey Jensen from Midwestern University College of Podiatric Medicine, and Carolina Marquez from Arizona State University's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute, and Yanni Deros from Cirque and Adam will answer students' questions pertaining to the challenge. Let's check out these new medical innovations.
So we're going to be joined today by three amazing professionals who are on the Zoom chat with me. And I'm going to ask them to take a minute to introduce themselves, just a quick minute. Who are you? Where do you work? And what's something that you're interested in? What's something that you're excited to do when you're not at work? So Dr. Jensen, you want to get us started?
Sure. Thank you, Brian. My name is Jeffrey Jensen. I am the Dean of the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine at Midwestern University. And in addition to education, I have an entrepreneurial background, and I have invented multiple products to help patients in the medical fields. But most of my patents involve either diabetic foot care or fracture care or infectious disease antibiotic-like treatments for patients that have infections. And so I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm really excited to hear about the students' innovations. Something interesting about me is I once climbed Mount McKinley, the highest mountain in North America, many years ago, so thank you.
We've been working on last month's STEM challenge, which was we wanted you to think like a bioscience professional and create a solution for a student or an athlete who's either dehydrated, rehabilitating an injury, or preventing an injury. And I know some of you guys took this to a completely different place, and that is amazing. We're super excited that you didn't limit yourself to these parameters and you kind of grew beyond that with your own interests, because that's what this is about. It's about finding your own passions and your own interests and looking to design and find solutions to those challenges and problems that exist. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that. So we have students from, I'm going to go back, from all over Arizona that took on this challenge. We had I think 18 schools that were going through there, and we're going to be listening to stories from 7 of those schools who are going to share where they're at in their journey and some of the ideas that they came up with. So all of you determined a scene or a scenario where you first pictured that you wanted to focus on, and they're all a little bit different. Some of you are in middle school, some of you are in elementary school, and some of you are in the high school level. And so you all looked at different things that you had interest in. From there, you identified some of the problems or the challenges that existed and started looking through and working through that design thinking process to come up with a solution. So those solutions are all over the place. And some of them are just in the idea phase. You're still just brainstorming and you haven't quite flushed it out as far as what you want to do, what you want to create, and what your unique solution is that's going to help in this scenario. Some of you are looking at current solutions that exist. And how would those fit to be able to identify a solution to be able to help students with those needs and stuff like that, which is absolutely great. And it's an amazing part of this process. But some of you are at that final stage of creating and testing that unique product. We're going to be here to support you on any level, whether you're just at the drawing phase and you're making some sketches, whether you're thinking about some 3D modeling or some 2D modeling. We're excited to learn more about that.
$28,000 is the average price for a pediatric prosthetic leg. At age 7, a child has already had 2 prosthetics and is going to continue to grow along with expenses on the prosthetic limbs. I am Liliana Guerrero. My team consists of Damian Rojo and Landon Martinez, and we are presenting our patent idea, the pressure prosthetic.
As it stands now, most existing prosthetics cost way too much for families to buy on a regular basis, which is why we have decided to make our product out of recycled material in order to cut down cost. These are the ideas that we had come up with in the process of creating this prototype. One of the first ideas that we had was creating a motor that would tighten around the leg. It would function similar to how Nike's self-tying shoe does, but we did not go with this idea because we realized it's not aligned with our want to become eco-friendly. Another one of our ideas was to make the actual leg part of the prosthetic itself act similar to crutches, how they are adjustable to certain heights. And in substitution to our original idea with the self-tying shoe mechanism, we were thinking of something that would work similarly to how hand impression molds work. But then we started looking into blood pressure cuffs, and this appeared to be more favorable to us.
Here we have a prototype of our idea as a kind of physical representation. Here we have the mechanism that pushes air into the blood pressure cuff to squeeze around the leg. Here we have the casing to form around the leg. Here we have the crutch mechanism to help adjust the height for the leg. And here we have the foot mechanism to adjust for the size of the shoes and feet. Here we have some visual representations of our idea that I modeled using SOLIDWORKS. In the first picture, you have the adjustable height/crutch mechanism. In the second picture, I added the casing around the leg and blood pressure cuff. In the third picture, you can see that I added the cushion layer and the adjustable foot. Here we have the finished visual representation where the materials are changed to the actual materials that are going to be used. It is fully complete with the blood pressure cuff, the leg casting, the cushion layer, the adjustable height mechanism, and the adjustable foot mechanism.
Our mission for this patent project is to minimize the number of prosthetics a child requires as they mature by constructing an adjustable prosthetic while also reducing the amount of waste damaging the environment. We envision a cheaper, eco-friendly solution to modern-day prosthetic issues. Our ultimate value is to give children equal opportunities.
This concludes our presentation. These are a list of our references that we have used. Thank you all for your time. This would be a perfect time for any questions if you have any.
Wow, that was fabulous. And Lillian and Damien and Landon, I'd love to have you part of my development team on some medical products. I've got some questions and just some thoughts for everybody before we get started. When we start looking at patent opportunities, there always has to be a need. And I'm so impressed with your ability to identify a need with pediatric amputations. And as kids grow, they need to get new prosthetics to fit them at every level of the way. So your idea to develop a prosthetic device that can be modified as the child grows is certainly innovative. And when you have innovation, the first thing we need to do is go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and see where our innovations or our inventions compare with those others that have developed something similar. And oftentimes you will find different products that are similar but not exactly the same. So if you have that innovation, it's very reasonable to put forth a patent application. And in this case, it would be a provisional patent application. So you can kind of lock your place in, so to speak, with the government patent agency. Then you have a year to improve upon those innovations based on the studies that you do, the development techniques that you carry out, because you're going to have to try this on patients, right? And try it on kids and see that it indeed will be able to be modified as they grow. So a couple things I'd like to add before talking about the device specifically is there's no question that this is innovative. There's no question that there's a market for it, because I did a Google search and I saw that every year there's at least 2,000 babies that have amputations, and they will be needing prosthetics as they grow. There needs to be improvement, as you stated. They're very expensive, and every child goes through at least 2 through their growth projects. And then lastly, there's a need to be economical, right? We need to be able, for babies and parents, to be able to afford these for their children. And I think your take on it and your perspective is spot on. I think it's brilliant. So as you can imagine, the biggest challenge for your patented product is to make sure that you get a good seal, right? That's why you're using the air bladder. And there's lots of different things that can be used in addition to air as you continue to try. And you might have a combination of things, because sometimes if you blow up an air bladder, sometimes it's hard for the patient to tolerate it, to be able to keep it to stick. So sometimes you can also use other entities in addition to air, such as silicone, non-compressible or compressible, or different molding or suction opportunities to help that prosthetic stay on that growing limb. And then each time you put it on, that limb, as it's changing, because the baby's getting bigger, will be custom fitted, so to speak. So I think it's a brilliant idea. And I'm wondering if you have any questions for me beyond what I just explained, because you were really thinking hard, and I think the fact that you moved it into a prototype is just brilliant, and you did that in short order. So I congratulate you on that.
I know we ran a little bit longer, and at the same time, I'm sure we could have spent another hour having some of those conversations, because those were absolutely fascinating. I want to give an opportunity to have all of our professionals give a final thought. And I'm going to start with Mr. Duros, because I know he's sitting at a conference right now, and he probably has to run right now. So Mr. Duros, would you like to leave us with a final thought of things that you took away from that?
Yeah, like I said, the quality of the work exceeded my expectations. I think the students are on great tracks. They learn to define the problem, identify the solution, show prototypes, visuals on how to share the vision of the idea. Some have gotten funding. Mind blown, right? So, it's exciting time to see these future disruptors, and I would love to stay in touch and see if we can advise and provide more. Bravo to you all. Congratulations to the teachers and all the students that participated. Very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Marquez.
Yeah, I am absolutely impressed with all the students who definitely put a lot of thought into their products, and I think went through, as Giannis mentioned, all the different ideation phases. And I want to point out, did a great job with, I think, empathizing with what the problem was, and really identifying that part of it. I heard a lot of good insight into, well, I have experience with this, or I have seen other people have experience with this, and I talked to them about it. So that's a great way to identify the problem, and then also good things to keep in mind as you go through that prototyping phase. You're keeping those things in mind, because when you go through the prototyping phase, you realize, oh, well, this wouldn't work for that group of people that I wanted to make this work for. So great job, everybody.
Wonderful. Dr. Jensen.
I was also likewise was very impressed. And I'd like to leave you with the thought that if you can dream it, you can make it happen. You are all so fortunate, and I shared this in our small group, that you're in an environment where you're enabled to think outside of the box, and you're able to develop solutions to problems that not only deal with athletes with dehydration, but could it deal with multiple different people, even geriatric populations or people that are sick in the hospital that are constantly fighting dehydration. So the concept of ideas and solutions will be with you for the rest of your life. And if you come up with good ideas, remember to go to the United States Patent and Trademark Office page, so that you can literally put your idea in and see what's out there in the world. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of you have dozens of patents before you're 40 years old, if you continue with this mindset and the ideas that you can make a difference, because you really can make a difference. And I echo the previous folks that say it far exceeded my expectations. You all did just a phenomenal job. And if you ever have any questions or anything that I could help you with, I would always be willing to help you vet any ideas, or if you need any other help with inventions, let me know. Thank you again for letting me be part of it.
I want to thank all of you for taking on this opportunity and for embracing this mindset, because it's challenging to create something that's new and to create something that doesn't exist. And the more what we want out of people in the world is to be able to look at problems as an opportunity, and to look at challenges as not a negative thing, but as an opportunity to make an impact, an opportunity to make a difference. So the skills that you're practicing and you're reinforcing right now are the ones that we want for every student that's graduating from schools and coming out into our communities. So thank you so much for taking on this opportunity. Please stay in touch. Please keep us updated on your progress, what you guys are doing with your solutions, because we'd love to hear more about it. And I know all of our professionals want to hear more as you're kind of going through that iteration. So thank you so much for joining us today. You guys have a wonderful weekend.